Techfor ID.
Techfor ID.
Techfor ID.
Technology for Indonesia.
Technology for Indonesia.
Technology for Indonesia.
Technology for everyone.
Technology for everyone.
Technology for everyone.
Okay, so let's start. So welcome everyone to another session of Tech Talk, bring you the cutting edge discussion on technologies and IT. With me, yours truly, as the host for the discussion. We are going to talk about Industry 4.0, how to transition to a smart factory with new digital technologies such as IoT, AI, augmented reality, or virtual reality, and also 5G. Very exciting topic and a very interesting time we live in. For today's Tech Talk, we will discuss the topic from a very qualified sources, the talented head of IoT Industry 4.0 Cloud Solutions of Siemens Digital Industries. Please everyone, welcome Mrs. Mirela Juravle. Hello, Mrs. Mirela.
Yes. Hi, Fariz. Thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome everybody to this session. Thanks again, Techfor ID, for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here today with you to share some insights and experience and successes and failures in trying to push digital technologies into the industrial and manufacturing world.
Yeah, so it's very good to have you here also. I hope you are healthy, especially in this time of COVID and lockdown. Hopefully everything is all right on your side. So I think for starters, I think we would love to hear a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit about your background. So what is it? What is your role in the industry, or maybe what is your interest in regards of today's digital technologies?
So thank you, Fariz. On my side, I've been working in technology for more than 20 years. Okay. I started in Europe, and since 6 years ago, I moved here in Asia. So working always in machine-to-machine, IoT, and digital technology, and how we can build, orchestrate solutions for people, for businesses, and for governments. Currently, I'm based in Singapore. Okay, and I'm looking after IoT MindSphere business development across Asia Pacific for Siemens Digital Industry Software. So basically, what do? I work with various countries in Asia Pacific, from Australia, Korea, ASEAN, and China and Japan, to support them in driving MindSphere and IoT together with their industrial customers, as well as smart cities customers, educate them, running POCs and deployments across the region. In parallel to this, work directly with various partners and customers for larger projects. Okay. As I said, I'm very pleased to be with you here and Techfor ID, because before Singapore, I used to work in Indonesia. So I'm very attached to this country, where I spent 3 years working for Indosat Ooredoo, heading up IoT M2M project and solutions. And I had an amazing experience together there with the local team and the local customers and the local ecosystem partner. So yeah, very excited to be here again, talking for Indonesia. Coming back to, yeah, so I guess that's it about me.
So we can see here that Mrs. Mirela has many experience in the IT industries and in his very long years of working with many companies and corporations. So I think that will take us to the first question of this webinar. So is there example of digital technologies, maybe the most peculiar ones that is used by manufacturing industries that you know, maybe the most cutting edge?
Absolutely, Fariz. I think the manufacturing world is experimenting all the new digital technologies today. Okay, they are experimenting from cloud, edge computing, IoT, AI, augmented reality, various use cases in maintenance, virtual reality, and blockchain for traceability across the supply chain. But before I enter into how the use cases of various technologies in the industry, let me take a step back and set up a bit of the context. So Industry 4.0, where does it come from? As we all know, the concept originates in Germany and has the mandate overall to transform the manufacturing sector and the industry in order to increase efficiency, to produce more with less, to better manage the utilization of raw material, save energy, and also ensure the safety and improving the better working conditions for the people working in the industry. So this is what we are trying to achieve here. On one side. On the second side, we see across Asia Pacific and of course not only in other parts of the world as well, a lot of government initiatives in order to support and drive Industry 4.0. And these initiatives are very much pushed by industrial nations, right, here in APAC. However, also smaller countries for which manufacturing is not such a big sector, they are thinking to transform every aspect of the industries they are operating in. So this is a good thing because there are investments from the governments in various areas. There are industry readiness indexes which are defined and which are let's say assessed and implemented. We have the example here in the Singapore with the industry readiness index driven by EDB. And these kind of investments are targeting the industry, but as well as the academia to push a curriculum oriented towards smart manufacturing and digital technologies to be applicable to industry. Okay. The third aspect that I would like to highlight in this context is this COVID situation that we have experienced for almost 2 years now, 1 year and something, has the counterintuitive aspect of it is that it actually accelerated the digital adoption and the digital transformation across various domains, but also in the industry. Okay, especially in use cases that involve worker security and remote monitoring of large populations of assets which are spread around large areas. Okay. The fourth aspect that I would like to highlight in the context is that we start to talk more and more about the fact that the future of manufacturing is going to be customer-centric. Why? Because we are seeing, of course, the new consumer, the millennial, the new generation, Y, Z coming, they have different kind of requirements in terms of customizing goods that they are purchasing. in terms of embedding them with different technologies and different AI capabilities moving forward. So this puts a strain on the manufacturing industries to actually produce very few variants, okay, with but a small number but large diversity of variants, okay, which is very different from the past when manufacturing which were supposed to produce same type of units in large quantities. And the fifth aspect, that the context in which we operate today, it's about the new generation of workforce, okay? There is a change in generations coming in. There is a aging population, and there is a young generation coming, which have completely different style of working and requirements in terms of how to work. And of course, this involve a lot of digital technologies. And in the same time, we have in this generational change that is producing, we start to see skills gaps, right, that we need to fill. And the industry needs to think about this, not only about adopting digital technology, but bringing these people up to speed to be able to use digital technologies. Okay, so this is the context in which we operate. And in this context, as I said, the manufacturers and the industry is experimenting various technologies for different purposes. In Siemens, we actually have this, we split, when we talk about smart manufacturing, we split in two main use cases of customer requirements that we try to address. Yeah? Connected shop floors and connected products. Okay, so when we think about connected shop floors, we are referring to the factories, to the production lines. So here the objectives of our customers and partners is to increase operational efficiencies, okay, to achieve better utilizations of the machines on the shop floors, to prevent the downtimes and the failures of the machines, to minimize the interruption in the productions. And in this kind of particular use cases, we are using the technologies that we currently experiment with are edge computing, cloud edge computing, and IoT, to be able to collect data from the machines, various machines on the shop floors, various machine and process data, to bring them to our cloud or on-premise platform in order to perform analytics, build KPIs, which are visible to various stakeholders, such as plant manager, production manager, maintenance manager, to be able to take decisions for improvement. The other use case that we are addressing, it refers to connected product. And here we are talking about machine builders or OEM manufacturers, which are embedding connectivity and IoT capabilities into their products to be able to connect data during the utilization of these products. Why? To better understand how their customers are using the products, to better understand the behavior of the real products. And this data is is fundamental to achieve the concept of digital twin. The concept of digital twin, it's a key concept in Siemens' overall strategy, right? Collecting data from product utilization and feeding it back into R&D, okay, product design, and then into production simulation, real production in real time, to achieve this entire flow of digital representation of product utilization, and the impact on the entire manufacturing flow. So to make it short, okay, and I'm sure we will talk in other questions. Currently, the manufacturing industry is experimenting the full range of new technologies available on the market with different level of maturity.
Okay, so as we have heard from Mrs. Mirela, there are so many aspects that was so many layers in the digital technologies usage by the manufacturing and how they use it. For example, there are remote monitoring of assets and the future of the manufacturing that is going to be customer centric, and there are also going to be more experimentation with the bottom line of the increased efficiency of manufacturing process. So here's the second question, still related to the smart factory. Who do you think are the stakeholders and what are their relations with each other in a smart factory?
There are various stakeholders which are contributing to the adoption of new technologies and transformation, all right, of the industry. So on one side, again, coming back to the split, if we're talking about the connected shop flow, so definitely here a major stakeholder is going to be the plant manager, okay, which has as objective to increase the availability and efficiency of the plant. Other stakeholders are the production managers, which is focused on optimization of the production processes, okay, reduction of downtimes, increase of efficiency. We are talking as well about the maintenance team, which is having a critical role and which is constantly looking to minimize downtimes and to improve the quality of service, and in the same time to constantly have a stock of necessary spare parts to assist into their activity of maintenance. If we talk about the maintenance manager and talking about the maintenance engineers, for them it's very important to be trained and have access to the documentation of each machine and piece which needs assistance, right? So this is where we are talking a lot right now for this kind of use cases, about augmented reality kind of use cases and HoloLens, and in the same time, constant remote connectivity to the maintenance engineer. Talking about the quality manager, which needs to ensure that every piece for the product quality, but also process quality, everything is produced according to with the standards references. If we talk about connected products, this is a different story because products are in general more linked to the strategy of the company. So the CEO gets involved, the digitalization officer gets involved, the product team, the service team, in order to design a product for the future. So I've been talking about OT stakeholders, I've been talking about strategy and product stakeholders. Let's not forget the IT department, actually. The IT department is fundamental in the adoption of these new technologies because they need to team up with every business stakeholder in order to advise and also make sure they choose the right technology to support the business with the right level of security and privacy, okay? So quite a large range of stakeholders from OT, IT, world strategy. The other aspect that I would like to mention, digital solutions can fix very punctual use cases, okay, and bring value, but they can also create transformation, right? They drive transformation sometimes at larger processes, of larger way to do business. So it is very important to have a constant engagement with the senior management, senior stakeholders, senior executives, okay, and constantly update them on how this impacts the business, to make sure everybody's aligned what is achieved. Hope this answered the question, Fariz.
Yes, very much so. I think this answers questions about who is the stakeholders of the company. So to iterate, there are the plant managers, which are the main stakeholder that maintains the efficacy of the plant. And then there's the maintenance team of the factory that is required to be trained. That they can also use remote means to view the workings of the factory. And they're also one of the important teams, the IT teams. And then there also need to be updates to the senior management, so everyone can work on the same wavelengths. You can say it like that. Okay, and that's about the stakeholders. And then we want to ask you about what are the challenges of transitioning from conventional operations of a factory towards the digital ones? What is the challenges?
Fariz, many challenges, okay, because this transition involves a lot of involves transformation, involves change, okay, and every change, I think we all know the famous curve of change, right? From excitement to the deep despair, and then slowly moving into adoption and improvements, right? So I guess, what are the challenges? Yeah, the challenges are around several dimensions. Proving the value, okay, proving the value to the business, proving the efficiency achieved, yeah, the business case for various stakeholders in the organization versus the investments. Other challenges are about, yeah, competition, yeah, staying ahead of competitions. Challenges about getting the buy-in inside the organization. Again, various stakeholders from senior management to the operational people, okay? And also keeping, the operational people are very important, because at the end, they are going to use day by day these kind of new technologies, okay? So all this process of getting the buy-in, education, proving the value to them, it's very important in the road to be successful. Okay, building an ecosystem of reliable partners. Okay, reliable partners in terms of technology vendors. Okay, but also in terms of supply chain, upstream and downstream. Because you need to ensure, you can adopt new technology, okay, but at some point in time, you need to make sure your entire supply chain actually is making steps in this direction as well, okay. And what other challenges? Yeah, and then it's also being aware that things don't happen overnight. We do not become digital overnight. Every organization is going to go through a journey. Digital transformation is a journey. And of course, we need to have a vision. I mean, organizations need to design a vision of what they want to achieve, short, medium, long term, but the first steps are going to be baby steps, okay? POCs, POVs to prove the value, promote the success of these POCs, POVs, demonstrate that the technology is safe and trustworthy, and also, slowly build up on what we have. In IoT and in Siemens currently in Siemens, we are offering a full integrated range of solutions. But from IoT perspective, for example, we have a journey, we are defining a journey with the customers from connect and monitor. So getting data from the machines, analyze and predict, okay? Start to build KPI, advanced analytics, predictions, and then digitalize and transform business model by exchanging data between silos, innovating in terms of the business models. Okay, so end-to-end, it's a journey. There are various challenges. I think it's important to understand this aspect of it and plan it as a journey.
So transformation towards the smart factory is not an overnight event. So it's a gradual change. You have to start slowly by slowly and then enacting change process by process. So that's very interesting, which that takes us into the next question. Do you think that maybe there is a downside risk or other consequences towards the application of smart factory systems?
When we think about risks, as I mentioned before, security, security, trust, and privacy is very important in digital technology for smart factories. And as we know, the industry in general is quite conservative, right? And it's in terms of adopting certain technology, it has to be proven in order to minimize risk. Why? Because risks translates into significant cost and losses impacts, right? If we think about the factory, just stopping the production for a few minutes or a few hours can have significant impacts on productivity and on the profits of the company. Okay, so it is very important, as I said, in the industry, and this is what actually the customers that we are working with day to day do. They do tend to go through phases of POV, POCs, to demonstrate the value, but also to test reliability of solutions. I think today certain technologies are quite mature. I would say edge computing, IoT, even if there is a constant innovation. Security is very important, and the vendors' security, cybersecurity, we have recently seen the example in America, right? Where several utilities were hijacked, attacked, and also, yes, a meat factory, I think I heard the other day. So security, and in Siemens, we have a huge team of cybersecurity for every type of product line, which is taking care of this. Compliance with regulation, that's another aspect of it, which needs to be taken into account. And yes, working very closely with customers to prove the trust in certain technologies and solutions.
So I think there will be so many variables that a company needs to take care of, right? Before they want to apply the system of smart factory, they have to have a strong digital security, and they have to prepare for risks of stopping production. And there's also compliance with regulation. They have to work with the government. What if a country were having a tough regulation in regards to the factory? Something like that, I think. So there's so many variables in this. And then let's talk about small to middle scale industries. In my mind, when I heard something about smart factory, I was thinking about large industrial manufacturing, maybe like Mitsubishi or Toyota or Siemens. They create a very large complexes of factories. But do you think that IoT is feasible in small to middle scale industries? Let's say, for example, that there are a carpentry that produce wooden furnitures, or maybe a tempeh factory that, say, for example, that they want to do a digitalization of manufacturing process. Can they enact such changes? Is it feasible for them? Is it profitable for them? Can they do that?
Yes, definitely. And we are working with several smaller manufacturers across Asia Pacific. So first of all, what is very important for these companies to understand what is the value for them, okay, moving forward. Are we talking about a connected shop floor use case and improvement of efficiency? Are we talking about connected product? Are we talking about energy management? Okay, energy improvement. When we talk to these type of customers, to address what we have identified certain common needs, okay, and certain common cases. And for this, this is why in Siemens we have defined a portfolio of off-the-shelf solutions, okay, embedding remote connectivity, IoT, application development, and even some predefined algorithm. And these are part of the MindSphere store, our application ecosystem that the smaller manufacturer can easily buy and implement and try. Okay, and if I'm talking about use cases, we see a very strong interest of use cases in terms of energy monitoring. Okay, I think it's from big to large, every manufacturer today would like to understand better their energy consumption of electricity, gas, and water, and how to better monitor that for savings, but also for compliance to regulation kind of reasons. Visibility in the second use cases we see is transparency across the use of various machineries that they have on the shop floor. And here we have application of condition monitoring and even remote assistance to remotely access certain type of machines. This is to give transparency and enable operators to react to any deviations or any alerts set up. Other type of use cases are regarding performance insights. These are advanced KPI that we built based on the data from the machines, such as overall equipment effectiveness, okay, which again are useful for the plant managers to be able to visualize the condition. So yes, we do think that digital technologies should and are available to the smaller manufacturers as well. It's all about the value, okay, and it's also about and the willingness to try and to understand the value for their business.
Okay, so as we can hear from Mrs. Mirela, that IoT is not only for the big factories, the large-scale manufacturers, but also to middle scale and also small scale one. The next questions will still talk about the consequences of the smart factory. The first is about the workers. There are many talks on how automated factories will replace workers because every process is automated. And how do you think that people should prepare for the digitalization of factories? Maybe should they apply for an IT, for an IT degree, or maybe there is other way? How should people prepare for that, for an automation of factory processes?
Okay, this is a very interesting topic, and I have, yeah, we had several discussions internally inside our organization, but also several exchanges with different other stakeholders in the industry. And I think, okay, there are several concerns, right? There are a lot of concerns about upskilling the workforce. There are concerns about integrating the younger generations. There are the concerns about the introduction of robots, right, that can replace people. There are concerns about people losing jobs. And I think this topic is on the agenda today of various businesses, but also on the agenda of the governments. Okay. I think one of the most interesting example that I've seen recently is the cobots, the integration of robots in the workforce. I have seen in Japan, right, where there are some examples whereby even certain robots are seen as part of the teams, as team members, together with the fellow humans. So yes, coming back on how to address this challenge. So from a government perspective, definitely we need acknowledgement, but also various measures on how to upskill and how to the existing workforce, but in the same time, how to educate the new generation, how to adapt the education system in order to include the skills that will be required for the future. Okay, and the good news is currently we are seeing IoT as part of the curriculum in certain universities. And from Siemens' perspective, we are having various partnerships with academia in various countries, whereby we are teaching and enabling, right, the students on how to use various portfolios of Siemens, from Siemens software, from factory automation, motion control, and process automation. On the other hand, on existing businesses, I think the businesses will have to define strategies. So first of all, they need to understand the impact of digital technologies on their workforce, okay? And I think this is the duty of the business to invest and into this awareness, understand the impact and define measures of transition that can be put everybody in a win-win situation during this journey, okay? Upskilling is also one thing, but in the same time, let's not forget we have a lot of countries which are facing aging population, so which are facing a completely different problem, which is lack of workforce, okay, which they try to compensate through the means of technology. So this is a very interesting topic, and I'm sure it's going to be something on the agenda in many in the years to come, moving forward.
Okay, so very exciting. So even if the automated factories, well, purportedly will replace manual workers, but we can still prepare for it all. Or, for example, there should be an adaptation, adaptation of the population for the new technologies and upskill of people, so they will be prepared. And also there is one point that every country has different issues in regard to this. When others have a problem of overpopulation and others may have a problem of an aging population. So this comes to
And
the,
Fariz, just to, I'm sorry I interrupt you, but I just want to make clear, I do not think that people will be completely replaced. Okay. I do see a transition or a change in the type of roles that we are going to achieve. Yeah, I think this is very important to notice as well.
okay. Yes. Okay, so that takes us into the next point about government and digital technologies. Do you think that what is the biggest challenges of the application of cutting-edge digital technologies in the government? How does they use it to improve public goods, and in what way? And what do you think is the government challenges to utilize such technologies?
Oh, this is one of my favorite topics because it makes me think about smart cities, okay, which is the domain which I'm very passionate about. So when we think about government adoption of new technologies today, I think almost all the governments in the world, they have published frameworks of smart cities or areas of smart cities domain in which they want to invest in order to benefit the public. Okay, so we are seeing here various domains, some of them more mature than others, and some countries more advanced than others. Here in Asia Pacific, we have a large variety of situations. We have Singapore with Smart Nation program, and the countries in the North Asia and also Central Asia, ASEAN region. What is common between all these countries, they all think in smart city. They all invest in smart cities at different level of maturity, okay? So various domains here, mobility is one of the most advanced, I would say, mature domain. Everybody trying to achieve operational efficiency of the transportation system of the country, but also make it more environmental friendly, okay? So this is a significant area. Utilities, monitoring the utilities in order to avoid losses on the grid, moving towards a pay-per-use business model as we move into the future. Introduction into the grid, various new types of energy generation, such as solar, wind, or nuclear, trading various type of energies between various stakeholders. So all this can be achieved with digital technologies enabled today. Healthcare, it's also, again, a very important domain, which is now accelerating digital transformation, looking into how to achieve a more efficient way to manage and operate a hospital. I see a lot of similarity to operating a factory. Actually, it's just we're talking about different kind of process and different kind of equipments, and preventive care by monitoring remotely the people. Education will change with the new technologies. So I guess, yeah, so smart cities, we can talk, and of course the management, the e-gov, okay, management of the citizen during the entire life cycle online, from birth until death, into monitoring all the IDs situation, the tax and revenue, and many other things online. I think when we talk about smart cities, we can talk for hours. Okay, so I'm just highlighting a few examples, and I'm super excited that here in APAC we have Asia Pacific, we have Singapore, we have Japan, Korea, which are actually countries as recognized in the world as being leaders leading the way in smart city solutions adoption. Okay. Again, this comes with a responsibility. Okay. So one of the key aspects which is going to be very important, again, it's security and trust. Okay.
So I think hopefully that many more countries can also adopt the concept of smart cities as it has been practiced by Singapore, Japan, Korea, and also several countries. I think NHS in Britain also use IoT, I think, in their healthcare systems or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I can tell even in Indonesia, Jakarta has started several projects in smart cities to make the city more efficient and more livable. So I was very impressed about that as well. Several projects in smart parking and smart mobility.
Yes, it's very interesting time indeed, the time that we live in with the growth everywhere. Then let's talk about blockchain. There are many hype for blockchain as of late, but also personally, I think I'm a bit. It's a bit complicated. Some say that it's just a wallet for digital currency, and others say that it was a system for companies to store their employee data and something like that, and payroll. But the bottom line is there are many people that actively participate in the virtual currency trading. And do you think? Can you explain what is your take on what a blockchain is, or did smart factories also uses blockchain in their operations?
So regarding blockchain, when we talk about industry, one of the examples that I can give a use case for blockchain in the industry links to the traceability of the origin of certain products. So currently we are talking a lot about certain product, especially food, right? Where it says it's organic or it's produced in a certain country, okay, and so on. So one of the use cases in which Siemens is working, and not only Siemens but other players, okay, is referring to this authenticity of the origin of the products, okay, and this is part of the food and beverage vertical, and we have use cases in potato chips manufacturing, right, whereby we collect data regarding from the moment the potatoes are produced, okay, in certain conditions, which labels them as organic, okay, and various stakeholders up to the consumer level. So from production, transportation into the factory or the manufacturing, this happen again, supply chain, shops, and up to the consumer. Different stakeholders can actually log data and via MindSphere bring it up to the blockchain in order to certify, to log and certify this authenticity. Okay, so today I'm seeing this kind of use cases in production. Of course, there are many more referring to the raw materials traceabilities. One of my favorite use case is as well, it's not a Siemens use case, it's an IBM use case, if I remember correctly, is the traceability of diamonds, right? Which have a very huge value and everybody wants to purchase originals, right? So that was a use case that fascinated me all the time. So coming back to the blockchain, yes, we see a lot of hype with the cryptocurrencies. We see a lot of hype now in America with, and not only with the NFTs. We see, but industry, this is one of the use cases we are where we see value in it as of today, and I'm sure there will be a few more upcoming in the next years. In my personal opinion, technology still needs to improve to gain trust. Okay, but this is again another fascinating story, and yeah, this is just a glimpse into what is happening.
Okay, so there we have it, the blockchain usage in the smart factories. Then let's talk lighter things. Talking about consumer goods, would you like to own a self-driving car?
Absolutely. I will be one of the first customers, and I will tell you why. Because I'm a terrible driver.
Yeah,
since I was very young, and I tried to pass my driving license 3 times, I finally got it after the 3rd time. But I remember at that time I said, okay, I tried, I got the license, but I still don't like driving a car. But I still need transportation service. So I look forward, you know what, I will wait until a self-driving car will be invented, and then I will buy it. And I remember I was telling this to myself as a joke and to the people around me, but actually today, 20 years after, we are actually talking about self-driving cars. And they start to become a reality. So yes, I would buy a self-driving car. I would also be willing to share a self-driving car with other neighbors or friends and family.
Like car sharing programs.
Exactly. I'm open to that. I'm not very keen on my car. But I think this is a fascinating concept, and it will give us more time actually to enjoy our life while driving. I also remember a joke made in one of the discussions with in the industry. I think it was a gentleman from one of the hyperscalers, and he mentioned that he was talking to his daughter, which was very young, and they were talking about the future and preparing, and they were talking about driver license, and the daughter says, why do I need to learn? Why do I need a driving license? I don't think we will need a driving license in the future. I don't need to do that. So look, the new generation already thinks driverless license and as an obsolete item.
Yeah, I think so too. But if I see how the traffic was like in Jakarta, I definitely also want a self-driving car. It's stressful with you go and then in the right there's motorcycle, and in the left there are bus, and everyone was fighting for an inch of the road. It's yeah. So I also waiting for the driverless car if it's come to soon maybe.
Yeah, that would be very interesting to see Sudirman, right, at peak hour, only with self-driving cars all lined up in order. That would be interesting.
Okay, so I think we still have several minutes. So for this question, okay. What do you think it will be the next big thing in digital technologies for consumer goods besides smartphone? Because smartphone is obviously the the big thing today, but what do you think the next big thing in digital technologies? Will it be AI for personal use, or augmented reality for maybe study or entertainment or video games, or maybe VR headsets? Or what do you think is the next big thing in digital technologies for consumer goods?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. And if I look around, so if I look at myself and my family as a consumer, and if I look around, I'm seeing three main areas, right? I'm seeing first of all, the preventive care, right? Or health monitoring. Okay, I think the improvement and the advancements of the gadgets and the objects to achieve health monitoring, it's going to be very important. So currently, yes, a lot of people, they have health trackers, okay, and have various type of watches, but further integration with the hospitals or with our care providers. So that, I think, would be the next step. So, and this can really be very important to move towards a preventive care type of medicine, okay. As you see, I personally don't have any health tracking device, but that's for different reasons, but everybody around me has one. So I think the sharing of the data is going to be interesting. The second thing, as you mentioned, gaming is going to, it has exploded in the last few years during the COVID situation, but I think it will continue to grow. And here, AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, it's going to be key, right, to attract new gamers and new users. And the third aspect is education for children. I mean, my 10 years old daughter, she speaks to Siri every day. Okay, she's asking for advice, she's asking for facts. So I'm amazed how comfortable and how strong relationship she has developed with this kind of technology. So adding to this kind of AI immersive technologies to actually transpond the students into various times or in various situations will be fantastic into the motivation to learn and into the knowledge, right, they can accumulate. So these are areas where I think, because impact day to day, but I'm sure there are many others to come.
Yeah, but I'm fascinated with the idea of preventive healthcare. So I think maybe a wristwatch that is connected to the healthcare system of the hospital is very useful, because maybe they can detect if there is something wrong with the patients, and the hospital can be warned fast enough, and so they can help it or something like that. But I think we have seen something like that. We can buy smartwatch nowadays that you can put it and it can detect your heart rate, and also maybe in the future they can detect the blood pressure or something like that. I think it's very exciting times we're in, that everything is changed so fast, and the new generation was already very much comfortable with technology, and they can already talk to Siri just like your doctor. In my time, back when I was a child, I think that my Windows 2000 computer is very cutting edge. It's very wow. It's very amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in 20 years now they have AI or VR. I wouldn't be able to dream this. I wouldn't expect to see this in my lifetime, and still more yet to come. So,
And do you remember when the first mobile phones came in, right? Would anybody imagine that now the mobile phone is it's like a mini computer you can have with you all the time? So yeah, it's exciting how all these things change so fast.
yeah, I think I remember. I think I remember when iPhone was came but at the time we still use that Symbian phone, you know, the Nokia. I forgot what is the name, but it's just built before smartphone, and I forgot the name. It's Nokia something. Yeah, never mind. And I think we have reached the 1 hour, but maybe there's one more question. Okay, I think for the closing statement of this interview, since we are reaching the end of the session, is there any message that you want to give to the young tech-savvy readers of Techfor ID and also to our viewers in this session?
Yes, definitely. So the pace, the rhythm of innovation in digital technology is very, very fast, right? It impacts our day-to-day life. And I think for the new generation, it's stay curious and keep learning. Okay, this fast pace of acceleration put us in a mode in which we constantly need to learn and to adapt. So actually learn how to learn to be able to adapt faster to the changes and stay relevant. Okay, I'm sure it's you find new technologies exciting, so it's a pleasure to learn. So yeah, keep learning.
Okay, so I think that's very important. Actually, I think that's deep. Actually, you have to stay curious and learn to learn. I think it's not just to you have to learn, but you have to learn how to learn, and maybe even how to learn to unlearn.
It's out. I love this one. I will keep it with me. Yes, learn how to unlearn. That's very important as well.
Yeah, Miss. Actually, I think that with the advent of technology, there are so many informations, and we have to pick the one that is important and the one is not important. So I just think to myself, maybe I also have to not learn some things and also unlearn several things. So yeah, that's just come to me.
Yeah. Fariz, thank you so much for this invitation, and thank you for Techfor ID. Thank you for your very interesting questions and very insightful questions, actually.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mrs. Mirela, for this session. So we have learned a lot and also discussed quite a lot. Hopefully everyone on your end is all right and okay. Hopefully Singapore is pleasant right now. And before we close this session, can I ask you to repeat the tagline of Techfor ID? So I will say the tagline and then you can repeat it, please. So Techfor ID, technology for Indonesia, technology for everyone.
Yes, definitely. Techfor ID, technology for Indonesia, technology for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Mirela. It's been a very pleasant session and it's an honor to be in this webinar. So I think that is all for our session today. Thank you for watching, and also don't forget to tune in to next Tech Talk only on Techfor ID.
Thank you so much. Bye, Indonesia.